So let's head to Carlene's home state of South Carolina.
That's right.
South Carolina. All right. So I want to read this line from, I thought this summed this up well as we get to our next guest. It's from the Griot. Garen Gaynor wrote this. So our next guest is seeking, and I added the next guest part, but is seeking to do what no Democrat in South Carolina has done since 1998 when the state elected Jim Hodges as governor. Hodges served only one term, followed by more than 20 years of Republican dominance in both the governor's mansion and the state legislature. That man who is hoping to make history is Dr. Jermaine Johnson Sr. He joins us now live here on Live Impact News. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank y'all so much for having me on here.
Let's start with this. You're relatively new to the political scene. Why is now? Well, why now, I should say. Why now? Why is it the right time to run for governor?
Well, I mean, you just outlined it when you were just talking about from the Griot. The fact that we've been under single-party rule for over 2 decades here, and you would think that with a supermajority of Republican leadership in the House, a supermajority of Republican leadership in the Senate, the governor's mansion being Republican, agriculture being Republican, comptroller general Republican, treasurer Republican, every congressional seat is Republican with the exception of Congressman Clyburn, education Republican. You would think that with all of that concentrated power, that South Carolina would be #1 in some field that was good, but we are constantly at the top of lists we should be at the bottom of, and at the bottom of lists that we should be at the top of. I mean, simply put, we are 43rd in education in the country right now. We have the worst roads and bridges in the entire country. You are more likely to be murdered in South Carolina than you are to be murdered in California, the state in which they like to demonize so much. So with all that power, they should be able to alleviate these situations that are happening here. That's just not happening. And it's time for somebody like myself to stand up, to call it out, and to right the ship in which we've been wrong.
So you talked about, and let's get into it. You're running on affordability, infrastructure, and families. If I had to condense it into 3, why those 3? And what are you hearing from voters in South Carolina here?
Well, the people of South Carolina, if you've seen the rankings that have been happening lately, you'll see that South Carolina is one of the worst places to move to in the country, and it's because of the affordability crisis that we are in right now. You know, we see that that they said South Carolina is the top place for one-way U-Haul destinations. But what they didn't also mention is the fact that we're also top 5 in the country of people leaving a state, and that's what's happening. The young people are leaving the state for more opportunity in other places. And the people who can afford to retire here are coming to South Carolina. So, you know, I did a statewide tour a few years back with a bunch of former gang members to figure out how we could solve the gun problem that we're having in the state. And every single county came to me with the same exact concern. They said they wanted more access to mental health resources. And mental health resources is a big issue in the state because our young people, you know, a lot of them came through school in COVID. And they don't know about conflict resolution, so the first thing they want to do is pull out a gun to solve their problems. And we got to fix some of the social issues that are happening across the state. With our roads and bridges, you know, happening right now, insurance carriers do better in South Carolina than they do in any other state in the country. That is a problem in a place that does not even have a minimum wage. We are at $7.25, whatever the federal government sets it at. That's where South Carolina is at, and we have to fix these problems.
So doing some research, you're a baller. You play basketball. I don't know if you can still hoop.
I was a basketball player. That's right.
I don't know if you can still hoop.
And listen, I still play ball. I can still dunk. You know, I still been winning city leagues out here for like the last 10 years. So yeah, if you ever want a challenge, man, listen, come on.
oh man, all right, okay, I'll take you up on that one. But specifically, College of Charleston, you came down here, played basketball. How did your time on the court prepare you for politics?
You know, so when I got to the College of Charleston, the media people down there at the school, they always said that I had the presence of somebody who was a good communicator. So what I would do is they used to set me up in terms of doing a lot of the team interviews for the media. I used to be the spokesperson for the team. They sent me to a lot of different events to speak on behalf of the team. I majored in communication at the College of Charleston. So, being able to communicate and do public speaking has been my thing. It's been my specialty for a long time. And being a part of a basketball team, when you have to get a bunch of guys who may think things are different or may try to think this play works better or whatever it is, you have to be able to bring these people together and kind of lead a bunch of different mindsets to achieve a common goal. And all of that works together with phenomenal synergy to help me out in the political spectrum.
A guy who was in the state legislature for a long time, Representative Joe Neal, how did he impact you?
Might have lost you there for a second.
Can you hear me?
I lost you there for a second, but
you got me.
All right. Yeah, I got you back.
Okay. It's all good. I was asking about State Rep Joe Neal,
yes.
who was in the state legislature for a long time. How did he impact you?
Yeah, so he's the person who introduced me to politics. I was advocating for this young man who had been stopped 3 times in 3 days by the police. They had searched him and let him go. And he didn't feel comfortable reporting that incident to any of the superiors of the office because he said he was afraid of having a target on his back. And when I went to go advocate for this young man, at the end of the event, Representative Joe Neal introduced himself to me and encouraged me to actually get involved with politics and be a part of the process of trying to change some things to come up with solutions for bridging the gap between police and the community. And he began to be sort of a mentor for me and teaching me about how politics worked and everything. And that's pretty much how I got involved with politics is through Representative Joe Neal. So after that, I ended up being appointed to the Richland County Recreation Commission, and I got heavily involved in community work. But even after Joe Neal passed, I always love to sing his praises, love to talk about how he got me, my first start in politics.
We're in an interesting time right now when it comes to both political parties, but let's focus in on the Democratic Party. There is a split when it comes to ideology, when it comes to progressives and moderates. And we see that sort of shaking out as far as the Senate races specifically. Where do you see yourself in that discussion?
Yeah, see, I love that you're asking this question because I actually got asked the same question when I was on SCETV, and we were doing an interview about the same thing. He was like, you said, Jermaine, what do you identify as? And I'm saying I don't identify as anything. If you've ever watched any of my speeches at the State House at the Well, when I'm talking about talking to the people about the issues that are affecting the people of South Carolina, I always say just do what is right. Just do what is right. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're Freedom Caucus, Green Party, Independent, Progressive, woke, liberal, whatever it is, radical, whatever marker they want to put on you. I don't care what it is. Just do what is right. And with me standing up there at the State House, I've stood with Republicans. I've stood against Republicans. I've stood with Democrats. I've stood against Democrats. I just want to do what is right for the people of South Carolina, and my history and my record shows that I will just do what is right. I don't care where it comes from. The best idea must make it to the forefront because when the people are on the ground, and if we don't have our ducks in a row, the people on the ground are going to suffer. And I think that's how America needs to be led. They need people who are not concerned about markers or D or R or whatever thing we want to be called by. We should just do the right thing at all times with the people at the forefront.
Are you paying attention at all to any of this discourse, specifically within the Democratic Party?
Not really. I'm not too concerned about where the factions are moving or anything like that because, when I become the governor, I'm the governor for everybody. I'm the governor for black, for white. I'm the governor for Hispanic. I'm the governor for Republicans. I'm the governor for Democrats, for, the socialists, the liberal, the ultra-right conservative. I'm the governor for everybody. And I think that's how leaders have to lead. And I always say this, that leaders do not have the luxury of holding grudges. I can't hold a grudge against anybody. You know, I have to lead, and I have to be willing to take the hits when they come, and also not get as many praises as, you know, one would think that you should get. I just need to be a leader and not really trying to dive all the way in to what, you know, somebody wants to push or however they want to go. People just need to be led.
So I just ran across an article this week. The state newspaper there in Columbia published regarding fundraising disparities, and they talked about and they highlighted not only your campaign versus Alan Wilson's campaign, but overall in the state when it comes to GOP and it comes to Democrats. I want to read a line from that, and it says, Jermaine Johnson is never going to raise as much money as Alan Wilson. It's a fact of life for any Democratic nominee for governor in South Carolina. That's the first line of that article. Do you see this as a hurdle at all when it comes to fundraising?
I don't see it as a hurdle at all. I mean, if you just look at my, you know, just the last few months of, you know, this running for governor here, I didn't have as much money as the two people in my primary I was running against. You know, one was a billionaire, one was a multimillionaire. Both self-funded campaigns, and they, you know, they had more money than they had more money than the GOP side, you know, and still I got just about 60% of the vote here in the primary. So it's not about, you know, the money, and you can see this, you know, even in the Michigan race with, you know, with Haley Stevens and them. You saw that, you know, he was outspent, you know, I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars, and he still won. You know, so it's not about the money. It's about who can move the people. And the people of South Carolina, they want something different. They're not concerned about the money. They're concerned about ideas. They're concerned about forward-thinking vision. They're concerned about the new South Carolina that I've been talking about. They want to get their roads fixed. They want somebody who cares about education and healthcare. And that's the vision that I'm putting forward for the people of South Carolina, is that I'm not concerned about all these other things, not concerned about the money. I want to make lives better.
Well, that article came out, but recently you made an announcement regarding Lieutenant Governor. You have a running mate, Sam Scardon, small business lender, former correctional aide to the late Congressman John Lewis, and it was a former candidate for state senate back in 2020. Why was he the choice?
So, you know, I've known Sam for some years now, and Sam's commitment to doing the work for marginalized communities. You know, you could be a banker for any big bank and try to get as much money, but when you're doing the work for helping out, you know, people who want to open up their own barbershop, or the line cook wanting to open up his food truck, or, you know, just the marginalized communities that are really just looking for the opportunity to achieve their dreams, that should never go unnoticed. Individuals who have been doing that type of work, but also the commitment that he has had to civil rights and icons. You know, the fact that he named his two twin boys after two civil rights icons, Reverend Lawson and Congressman John Lewis, that lets you know about his commitment to civil rights, his commitment to justice, and not being ashamed to show it. And I think that's what we need, people who are committed to standing on principle, committed to doing what's right, having the integrity, having the character that is needed to have a new South Carolina, which is what we're fighting to do.
All right, so we're about 3 months away from the November election. A lot at stake for when it comes to these races. Probably one of the more a lot of headlines coming from this midterm. I don't even know how to describe it, but a lot more eyes on this midterm seems like than ever before. What is that? What is that preparation like? What is the work like heading into that November election?
Well, you know, it's still getting out into the communities, talking to people, meeting them where they are, going to these communities. You know, that's one of the things that helped me in the primary, was going to places that nobody had ever even heard of before. Going to those small communities, those rural towns, talk to those people, allowing them to see somebody who actually cares about their issues and the things that they're going through. So that's exactly what I'm going to continue doing. It's just going to the every inch of South Carolina, talking to everybody that I can, letting them know that they have a choice. You know, I was in part of the upstate of South Carolina where it's considered very conservative. And I went up there, and there was a lady who sent me an email the next day who had saw me walking into the poll, and she said, you know, I didn't introduce myself to her, but she said the way I carried myself was very gubernatorial. and she said she had to look me up, and she was unaware that I was even on the ballot. That she had only known about the Republican folks because her area is very heavily conservative, But she said, Jermaine, listen, I looked you up and I'm thoroughly impressed, and I'll be voting for you in November. And that right there is how we win people over. It's just by showing up, just by going to places where they are not typically seeing people like me. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. Just going everywhere. I don't care if it's a traditionally Republican area. I'm going to go there. I don't care if they feel like they're ultra right. I'm going to go there. And I'm going to talk to these people, and I'm going to challenge issues, challenge ideals, and make people to understand that there has been a concentration of power for over 2 decades. It's time for a change.
You've been so gracious with your time. I have one more question for you. It's a bit of trivia. So I mentioned at the top, and I like to, my interviews make it full circle. I mentioned at the top, the last time South Carolina had a Democrat as governor, Jim Hodges, 1999 through 2003. Do you know the man who was before Jim Hodges?
The Democrat before?
Mm-hmm.
Dick Riley.
You're right. What year?
Listen, I may not have been born then.
I was about to say, I don't think you were born yet. 1979. 1979.
Yeah, I was not born.
Oh man, you left us in suspense at first, but that was a great answer, and it was the correct answer. Jermaine Johnson, thank you for your time. You're welcome back here on the program. Again, thank you. You've been so gracious with your time. Thank you for answering these questions, and good luck moving forward.
Thank y'all so much for having me.